And my dad's mother's maiden name was Magnet. She was Mary Magnet. She died. She went blind before she died. And my mother and dad took my grandpa and kept him with them until he passed away. They died in their 70s. My dad had, I think there was 9. Let me name them off, and you count them, Bob, to see how many there was. I'll count the boys first. There was Pascal, that he was the oldest one. My dad was next. And there was one they called Soon and Jake. How many was that? 4 boys? And then the girls were Sally and Molly. Sally, Molly, and Eddie. And then my dad had one sister that died when she was 13 years old, and I don't remember her name. I believe her name was Mary too, but he talked about her an awful lot. And then my dad had a brother that died right after World War I. He came back from World War I, and he had the flu and died. He was Charlie. And then on my mother's side of the family, does that make 9 kids in that family? I think so. And I believe there was 9 in my mother's side of the family. The oldest one in my mother's family, sisters, was Annie. And she married Norman Duncan. And Annie, we used to go by her house, and I would beg Mom let's don't stop. Let's don't stop at Aunt Annie's house today. And my mom wanted to stop and see her sister and talk to her sister. And I don't know why it was, but I was afraid of Uncle Norman for some way or the other, because he always teased me. And I would say, Mom, please, let's don't stop there today. She'd say, well, I need to stop and see Annie. And so we'd stop and sit on her front porch and talk to them a while and then go on. When we were going to the store and back, we would stop there and go in and see them. What happened to my Aunt Annie one morning, her and Uncle Norman got up and he went out to feed the chickens and the hogs and the stuff, and she was getting breakfast. She had a stroke and fell over on the cook stove with her arms out like this, trying to catch herself, fell over on the cooking stove, and when he came in and found her there, her face, her arms, and her hair had been on fire, and she was so burned, she never became conscious, and she died that afternoon. She had had a stroke and fallen on top of the stove. They had 2 daughters and a son, and their son's name was Elmer. And the 2 daughters was their names have slipped me. I knew them a minute ago, but it slipped me now. But then Mom had Aunt Lurie, was Mom's sister, and Clevie, and Mom. That's 4 women, four sisters. And then her brothers was Floyd and Charlie and Willie. And then she had a brother that had to go into World War I too. World War I also. He was Johnny. And he went into the service when he was about 17. And he wasn't he had gone to battle but a few days until he was killed. And when we used to go out to Grandma's house after he died, I can remember my grandma and my mom going and looking at his uniform they had hanging up on the wall in one of the rooms. And Grandma crying and Mom crying because Johnny was gone. And today I have Johnny's picture here. I found it in my sister's possession after my mother died. She got a lot of my mother's things, and That picture was rolled up. My mother always kept it in an old suitcase. And I could remember as a child she would take that out and look at that picture and roll it back and talk to us about it and roll it back up and put it back in that suitcase. And I forgot all about that after I was married and left from home. But after my mom died and my sister got a lot of her things, that picture was among it. And after my sister Jessie died, her daughter-in-law Carolyn sent me a bunch of those things, and when I went through them, I found that picture. And I was so thrilled to get that picture, and I thought, oh Lord, why didn't I think of that picture and get that picture and have it framed like this while Mom was living here with me for 6 years? I have that picture now, and I cherish that picture because the picture was taken by one of these old timey cameras like you set up on a tripod, and it had some kind of a black covering there, and you put your head under that covering and looked out there and took a picture. And my grandma got the guy that went around through the country to come there and take Johnny's picture before he went away to service. And it was taken right in front of my grandma's bedroom window where all those flowers were growing in her yard. And that picture means a lot to me because I can see my grandma's house yet still there, and the flowers in her yard, and Johnny standing there. And when I think about these things, Bob, it's so important for me to know in my own heart that everybody has a story, and everybody doesn't get to tell their story, but everybody lives their story, because from childhood up, their life has been formed, and that has built them into who they really are. And most people are that never really do get to tell their story. Many times it comes out in the wrong way because nobody's listened to their story, nobody has understood who they really are. And they have a grief in their heart, and they have guilt in their heart because looking back, they can see many things that they wish they had done better. And I have had to deal with that myself, looking back at so many things, taking care of the different people that I have taken care of in my life. I can see now, because I'm older, that there was many other things that I could have done that I didn't do, but I didn't know how to do them. But if I dwelt on them now and felt guilty about it now. Bob, I was talking about the conveniences of the home that I grew up in with my mother and father. There was no refrigerator, no electric stove, no iron. Just had stove irons, they call them sat irons, just sat on the cook stove and heated them and pressed our clothes with them. And we didn't need much ironing because most of us only owned about 3 sets of clothes. We had one outfit that we'd always put on and wear to church, but then during the week we'd have one set that we'd wear to school or wear at home, and then sometime during the week we'd all take a bath and put on fresh and clean clothes, and Mom would wash the clothes and have them all neat and clean for us to wear again, and we didn't have many clothes. Each person had just about 3 sets of clothes. That was underwear, socks, and well, maybe more socks than anything else. But we didn't have a lot of clothes, and they were very simple clothes, and usually our mother made our clothes that we wore and hers. But the way she did the laundry, it's amazing how that we did that, because we didn't have a washing machine back in those days. In fact, I was married 2 years before I had a washing machine. I know what we called a wringer washer. It was a tub that had an agitator in it, and it